The Ex2010 interface is based on a ribbon, contextual tabs, and galleries. Microsoft introduced the ribbon in its 2007 applications, radically changing the way you work. You no longer have to search, guess, or memorize which menus and toolbars contain the commands you are searching for. The ribbon organized the most commonly used commands under each tab with galleries, dialog boxes, and groups buttons, and more options. The top of the screen contains more items such as icons, buttons, tabs, and menu items. This layout will make navigating and using Excel easier to find and use the features you are looking for. At the top is the title bar, which contains the name of the workbook you are working on, followed by the application name of Microsoft Excel. This document is called Book 1 because it has not been saved with another name yet. In the right end of the title bar are the three standard Windows sizing tools. The minimize icon reduces the current window to a link on the status bar. The maximize icon resizes the window to the full screen mode or a restored state. The restored state is between the maximized and minimized state. This is when you can use the resize handles to adjust the window size to your preference. Also, in the restored state, you can move your active window around the screen by grabbing the title bar with the mouse, and the close icon closes the Excel application. Be sure your screen completely fills the desktop by clicking the Maximize button. Just below the title bar is the menu bar. These contain the familiar drop-down icons for items such as Home, Insert, and Page Layout. These icons are now used to change the contextual tabs of the ribbon. Under the tabs is a row of commands based on that specific category. The layout of the ribbon is not static. Choosing one of the contextual tabs determines which tools are displayed in the ribbon by grouping together the commands based on a specific category. You see only the tools needed for that task. Instead of showing all the Excel tools at a time, you only see the tools needed for a specific task. We will return to the ribbon in detail once we explore the rest of the Excel layout. The Ex2010 interface is based on a ribbon, contextual tabs, and galleries. The top of the screen contains more items such as icons, buttons, tabs, and menu items. This layout will make navigating and using Excel easier to find and use the features you are looking for. At the top is the title bar, which contains the name of the workbook you are working on, followed by the application name of Microsoft Excel. This document is called Book 1 because it has not been saved with another name yet. In the right end of the title bar are the three standard Windows sizing tools. The minimize icon reduces the current window to a link on the status bar. The maximize icon resizes the window to the full screen mode or a restored state. The restored state is between the maximized and minimized state. This is when you can use the resize handles to adjust the window size to your preference. Also, in the restored state, you can move your active window around the screen by grabbing the title bar with the mouse, and the close icon closes the Excel application. Be sure your screen completely fills the desktop by clicking the Maximize button. Just below the title bar is the menu bar. These contain the familiar drop-down icons for items such as Home, Insert, and Page Layout. These icons are now used to change the contextual tabs of the ribbon. Under the tabs is a row of commands based on that specific category. In the upper left corner of the screen on the title bar is the Quick Access toolbar. This toolbar is designed for instant access to some of the most frequently used features and tools. It contains the default commands of Save, Undo, which cancels the last action taken, and Redo, which replicates the last action taken. The Undo and Redo buttons are grayed out, but as soon as you enter text, the buttons will change color and become available. These icons stay the same no matter which tab is highlighted in the ribbon, but you are not limited to just these features. Click the drop-down arrow at the end of the Quick Access toolbar. You can add more features to the Quick Access toolbar by placing a check mark next to any item in this list, such as New Document, Quick Prints, Spelling, and Email. Click Quick Print. Now we have a shortcut to print the current file by clicking it on the toolbar. Click the drop-down arrow again. Select more commands towards the bottom of the list. You now have an even larger selection of buttons you can add to the Quick Access toolbar. Scroll down and highlight the New option from the list on the left, and click Add. Click OK. Now you can create a new workbook with one click. You can also move the toolbar to the bottom of the ribbon. Click the down arrow again, and choose the option Show Below the Ribbon. The toolbar moves to the bottom of the ribbon. However, I think this takes too much space anyway from the active work area, so move it back to the top of the ribbon. Click the down arrow again, and click Show Above the Ribbon. You already explored how Excel's minimize and maximize buttons worked on the title bar. Just under these icons is a similar set with some additional tools. The button with a question mark is the Help button. The button on the right of the question mark lets us minimize an entire workbook within the workspace. Click it, and the workbook minimizes to the bottom of Excel. To restore the workbook to the active workspace, click the button with two overlapping windows. This also moves the sizing icons back to the upper right corner of the active window. The ability to move and resize the workbook within the screen is helpful if you want to see more than one worksheet or workbook at a time. Click the Maximize button, which is the solid square next to it, and our workbook is restored to full screen in the workspace. Let's take a look at the active worksheet. This grid is where you input your data and create the calculations and formulas. Excel documents are called workbooks. Each workbook consists of one or more worksheets. Within a worksheet, the numbers along the left are rows, and the letters along the top row are the columns. A single worksheet can have over 60,000 columns and over 1 million rows. In fact, the limit will probably depend more on the amount of memory in your computer than the size of a worksheet. Right now, cell A1 is the active cell, and its name appears in the name box just under the ribbon. Move the mouse pointer to another cell and click it. The name of that cell now appears in the name box. You will be using the name box often. To the right of the name box is the formula bar. This is where you will enter text, numbers, and equations. At the bottom of the screen are the tabs to move between the different worksheets in this workbook. By default, a workbook starts with 3 generically named tabs. You can change from worksheet to worksheet by simply clicking on the tab name. Multiple worksheets give you flexibility in storing data. You can have one worksheet showing personal income and expenses, another showing payments on your house or car, and a third for charts illustrating finances. The icon on the right of the last sheet lets you add more worksheets to the workbook. On the right side, on the bottom of the worksheet, are the scroll bars. You can move through large documents simply by dragging the bar up and down. You can scroll just one row at a click by clicking the arrows at the top and bottom, or left and right. Move to the bottom of the screen to explore the status bar. The 3 buttons on the right lets us change how to view our worksheet. Roll your mouse over each of the 3 icons to see the small text boxes: Normal, Page Layout, which shows margin, headers and footers, and Page Break Preview, which shows where a page break happens. This method of hovering over buttons is how you can identify what a button or icon will do. The small scroll bar to the right is the zoom slider. Click and drag the slider bar to zoom in and out of the worksheet. The center position represents 100%. A shortcut to zooming in and out is to hold down the Control key and move your mouse wheel forward and backward. You can also choose additional items and icons to put in the status bar. Right-click anywhere on the status bar. This is the status bar configuration menu. The check marks shows you what is currently turned on and off, such as caps or numbers lock, overtype mode, or fixed decimal. Other options such as average, count, minimum, maximum, and sum won't show up until you have data in your worksheet. Click the status bar again to close the menu. Now that we know the Excel environment a little better, let's return to the ribbon to see the tools needed to create and modify your spreadsheet. The default tab is the Home tab. This section contains the tools dealing with entering text and formatting cells in the spreadsheet. The categories under the Home tab deal with the font settings, text alignment, and editing. The Home tab is probably the most often used tab on the ribbon, and it's a good place to start when creating a worksheet. Right-click anywhere in the worksheet grid, and a special menu opens displaying many of the same commands found above on the ribbon. These are the shortcuts to commonly used Excel features. These tools are used so often that this shortcut menu allows quick access to them. Click outside the menu to close it. Let's look at the different tabs on the ribbon to understand what each does. The Home tab's tools are divided into 7 main tool areas. The clipboard allows us to cut, copy, and paste text, numbers, formulas, and other items into a worksheet. The brush icon is the format painter, which copies the formatting of one area and applies it to another. The next section contains the font tools, which changes the look of the text and numbers, including font type, size, and color. The alignment area deals with text within a cell, such as placement of text at the top, middle, or bottom and left, right, or center. It also deals with text orientation and increasing or decreasing indents within the cell. Number applies a particular number format or style to a cell, including setting decimal points. The Styles section lets you apply more complicated formats or style to tables and cells. Cells lets you add and delete cells to a spreadsheet and decide what the cells look like. And finally, Editing offers you ways to fill and clear cells, plus ways to find and sort items in your cells. In the lower right corner of some of the tools is an icon with an arrow. This is the dialog box launcher, which means there are more advanced features available. Click the icon in Alignment, and the Format Cells dialog box containing more advanced features and options opens. You will become familiar with dialog boxes as you continue to build your spreadsheet. Close the box by clicking the X. As you move your cursor over any of the tools in the ribbon, a text box appears describing that command. For instance, roll the mouse over the Paste tool in the clipboard area, and a small box identifies what this tool can do. The box also shows the keyboard shortcut, in this case the Control key and V. If you like using the keyboard to access your commands, Excel makes it easy to see these shortcuts without having to memorize them, and it's simple. Press the Alt key. This turns on Excel's key tips. Key tips are the little numbers and letters over the commands indicating what you need to type to activate that command or tab. Items on the Quick Access toolbar are designed by numbers, while the tabs have letters. In order to open Insert, all you have to do is press N. Now the commands change to those related to inserting tabs into a document, such as tables, charts, and illustrations. The Tables area tools controls how the tables are placed on the spreadsheet and how cells within them behave. You can use the Illustrations section to add shapes, pictures, and other graphical elements. Charts are critical to Excel, and this area lets you create many different types. Many of the tools have little arrows under or next to them. In the Chart section, click the arrow under Column. This opens a gallery which visually shows the options you have for a column chart. You will see how a gallery can help you decide on a chart style later. Close the gallery by clicking anywhere in the worksheet or click the Tool button again. Click the Page Layout tab. Page Layout focuses on how text and objects are displayed in the worksheets. The Themes section controls the overall look and feel of our workbook with font sizes and colors. The next tab, Formulas, is obviously critical to working in Excel. It controls the calculations of our data. The Data tab tools lets you sort and filter data, consolidate and remove duplicate data, and get data from other sources such as Access, the Internet, or text documents. The tools on the Review tab include proofing tools such as spelling, research tools such as the Thesaurus and dictionary, protecting and sharing tools. These tools are necessary when several people are working together on a document and they want to share comments and edits. Finally, the View options control how you see your documents on screen. Many of these tools are also located on the status bar that you explored earlier. Finally, let's take a look at the very first tab on the ribbon, the File tab. It's a different color from the rest of the ribbon. Click it. This is the Backstage view. It consolidates all document management tasks, such as opening, closing, printing, and sharing files. One of the most useful features is the Recent button. When you click it, a list of the last 20 documents you worked on in Excel appears. You don't have to remember the names of the workbook you just closed because it will be listed here. Close the menu by clicking the File tab again or pressing the Escape key. Don't worry if you can't remember where everything is. You will be using them as you build your spreadsheet.